Hi, this is Christy Peterson with ChristyPetersonPhotography.com, and I sell digital backgrounds and fairy overlays and fairy wings and some fairy costumes in my on my DStash page for fairy photographers. And this is a tutorial to show how I do a flying fairy. So flying fairies usually they're composite pictures with a digital background usually, and 2 to 3 pictures for your flying fairy. So with this picture, I have 4 actually that I took to create it, and I will explain why that is. Um, your your goal would be to get 2 pictures, one of her upper body and one of her lower body, to combine those together to make your flying fairy. So this is what I did. I liked her expression in this picture. But her arms, I wanted her arms a little bit more up. So then she was concentrating to get her arms up, and she kind of lost the expression that I wanted in her concentration to do it right. So then I moved in and I added her skirt and her foot. In the original picture, her feet were a little farther apart. I wanted them a little bit closer together, but she was a little bit nervous sitting up on the stool. Her mom is behind her, holding her on there. So I have just a regular bar stool with a sheet over it, because you need that separation, because I've had the bar stool legs show through the skirt, and it's kind of hard to the tulle of the skirt. It's kind of hard to get that out of there. So just put something that will add contrast between your fairy and the background when you want to remove her, or when you need to select her off of there. So with this one, I just have this layer is just for her foot, and then I moved it over to the other side, and I'll show you what just that one single that's all I have on that layer is just that foot. Okay, so I'll turn all these back on, and your layer order when you are adding the wings, when you are doing composite pictures, it's best to put the wings below the fairy. That way you don't have to mask off part of the wing, and it's going to save you some time. See, if I were to put the wing on top of the fairy, then I would need to add this mask, grab the brush, and go to black, and mask, make sure your mask is selected, and mask off, oops, that's sloppy, and mask off the wing, like that. But since we're doing it this way, and you just drag the layer behind the fairy. There is an exception to this, and I'll show that on my next picture. And I'll show you a little bit how to select your fairy off the background. So with this picture, just with how things worked out, I actually have 5 layers in this picture. I'll walk you through those a little bit. So this one, she's concentrating. It takes a lot of strength to hold this position. So you definitely need 2 photos here. So with this one, she's concentrating on her legs and getting a nice point and having them at just the angle that I want her to have them in. This one, actually, she was standing up. I want the dress not to have so much effect showing, gravity. It's going to go down this way, but when they're flying, it's not supposed to be that way. So I took a picture. I had a picture of her standing up, and then I added that in there. But then it still needed just a little bit of a droop. So with this picture, we're kind of holding up the skirt and having just a little bit of a curve there. Okay, this one is her head and shoulders, and when you're doing a side picture of a flying fairy, make sure her arm is right next to her body, because usually, the natural tendency when you're pretending you're flying is to bring your hands out from your body a little ways. But when you do that at this angle, the hand is going to look huge. So that's what I was doing here, was making the hands look a little bit smaller. It still looks a little bit too big, but anyway, so make a note to self for that, to be careful about that the hand is not closer to the camera very much than the rest of the body. Alright, so I'm just going to show you really quick. I'm going to layer mask. Okay, so this is how you select her off the background. You grab a quick selection tool and is going to make a selection of the fairy. People ask if you need a green screen with this. No, I've heard that that can put a green color cast on the fairy, on her skin or her dress, and you don't want that. All you need really is contrast. If you have a white skirt or white costume, you need a dark background. If you have a dark, you need a light background. You can't really do it on, you're going to have problems separating. If she was standing on this carpet, I would have a hard time separating her skin tones from the carpet tones. So just think contrast. Now when you're using the quick selection tool and you're selecting and it goes and it selects too much, you hold down the Alt or the Option key on a Mac and you erase that. You can go over the area that you don't want, and I want it to select a little bit more of her skirt right here. So I'm just adding that. Okay, now I'm going to go up here to Refine Edge, and it's going to bring up a box. And I'm going to do about 3 pixels here in this edge detection field. And then for smoothing, I'm going to do about a 1, and contrast about a 1. And I'm going to change the selection here to a layer mask and bring this a little bit bigger. This is what's going to give you a little transparency in the skirt if it's like tulle or netting or something, and will make it a little bit more transparent. Okay, do you see how that already looks like it should? This should add a little bit of a, fix that one there. Just go over areas that that you want Photoshop to take a look at again and say, I want this to be refined. Okay, and then click OK. And there it is. So then you use that, and then you're going to combine the rest of your photos. I had some of this skirt down here masked off, so in the how I started out. So that is how you do select her off the background, and then I put her on this background. And notice how I have the wings. This one is for the layer order. This is how you do this. So for the back wing, let me turn off the near wing. The back wing, here's the fairy layer, and I have the far wing below her and the near wing on top of her. And I did add a layer mask because I wanted to, let me grab this, black, because I want to create just a little bit of a separation right there. And then this one, same thing. A little bit of a separation right there, and it's on top, and it just looks natural how that would naturally be that way. And then this is one of the overlays that I have, this flying pixie dust trail. All you do for that is you just drag and drop on the overlay and hold the shift key to shrink it down. And then you move it, shrink it down a little bit more. Oops. Shift key. And then move it over, to where you want it positioned. So, and okay, there you have it. That is how you do a flying fairy. I hope that this was helpful. Thank you for watching.